Hello. Well, we're 15 minutes late. 14 minutes to be exact. And the answer, as usual, is I have no idea why. With 2 minutes to go to come on the air, our software package, StreamYard, simply disappeared. And it's taken me 12 minutes to get it back. If I was computer literate, it would have taken me 12 seconds. As it is, I have to fart around. And that takes a little bit of ingenuity on my part because I'm never sure what I'm clicking on and what I'm not. But anyway, here we are. We've made it. We've made it back. And I'm ready to go. But today is going to be a short day. One of the big problems of a small operation is, those of you who follow us regularly will know that we all have dual roles. I am not only the anchor, but also I'm the doorman. So when the beer is delivered, I have to up sticks and go and let the drayman in and make sure that the beer gets into the cellar. And when people are ill, it creates a problem. I am rarely ill. When I am, I try to be ill on the weekend, get shoveled into hospital on the weekend, and get out by Sunday night so I can get back here on Monday morning. And others aren't as fortunate to be able to schedule their illnesses quite that way. Parkinson's is strange. It's almost as if you can have it as in depth. You can't get rid of it, but some days you can actually laugh along with it and be quite merry. On other days, you could fall about and it just can't do anything about it. As I say, others are not as fortunate as I am. They've got different things wrong with them. And all our key people are ill at once. Harry fell and needs some surgery, some stitches to put him back together again. Philip has Mrs. Meredith to look after, and others. Dr. Maybe is not so hot. There are others who would normally fill in or fill the gap, who are just not up to snuff. So that leaves just me to try and steer a way clear through the day. And I don't have a great deal of material to help me, I'm afraid. So we won't labor it. We'll cut it short. But we will do the usual things that we do. And the first thing, of course, is that we look at the weather, don't we? Yes, we do. We always look at the weather. So that is what we're going to do first of all. Now, one of the things that I said yesterday is rather nice, is that it's staying warm. Now, today we're going to get some rain. Yeah, sorry about that. But not until noon. And then there's a 24% chance of rain. So you can almost guarantee we're going to get some. And at all 2 o'clock, it's going to really belt down. And then rain will stay with us for the rest of the day, I'm afraid, until about 7 o'clock tonight, when we'll get a little bit of sun peeking through. For the moment, until 9 o'clock, we've got some sun supposed to be shining through. It ain't at the moment, but it is 20 degrees. And tomorrow we're going to have a full day of sun and 20 degrees. And Friday we're going to have some sun and 19 degrees. And on Saturday it's going to start to pour again and go down to 18 degrees. But it's going to recover. It's going to recover. So that next Monday, what have we got next Monday? Let's see. We've got 20 again, and the 20 and sunny and a gentle breeze. Oh gosh, how nice! Now, there we go. I'm back on screen for myself. So is more good than bad in terms of the weather, and so I can go out and let the world see my hat. I'm absolutely gobsmacked that people continue to mention and compliment me on my hat. And it was only a head staggers that I actually saw the hat, and I quite liked it. And I thought, gosh, is I had that dark brown trilby, which is vying with Harrison Ford's on the internet to be sold at $250,000 plus one. And if people are going to buy it, they'll need to look at it. So I thought, well, that's going to have to go on display. I need a working hat. And I saw this one, and I purchased it for £3.50 or something of the sort. And here it is, and it's permanently attached to my head. But it's well known and well liked. Oh, there you go, Willie Loman. My hat is well liked. It was well liked, Biff. Yeah. Henry Miller, I think, is a leather salesman. An American author. I'm rambling because I'm trying to collect my thoughts. We've looked at the weather. Never mind the weather. We are managing to broadcast, and I'm giving you little tidbits here and there. But of course, what we really need to do now is to go to the papers, and I'm going to have to. Let's see. I have no idea what happened to original. Now, this is a format that I don't understand. So we better keep searching for papers. Somebody's joined me, but I just can't see for the moment. Let's have a look. The papers. No, it's not coming up the way that it should. But let me see who is there. Who's there?
I'm called Philip.
I have no idea what's going on with the bits and the pieces, but anyway, I've managed to recover. I assume that you can hear me.
If you mean me, I can hear you. You've been disappearing and reappearing like some genie. Anyway, there we are.
Yes. Well, it's because I've got a magic hat and I've got a rabbit in it, and I've been searching for the rabbit.
Yes, well, it's big enough for a few rabbits, really. We'll have to call you Warren.
Yes.
Well, you've completely discombobulated me about what you've been wanting to do today, and I'm pleasantly surprised, but I'm surprised that you're doing a live stream, because I got the impression from your email that it was all cancelled all week.
Well, not all week, but I've strangely enough, just about everybody has been unable to join us. So there was only me, and you're not here tomorrow.
No. I can be with you tomorrow. I can be with you. Today is the funeral I have to go to.
Right.
Which, I'll be frank with you, I'm really dreading.
Oh dear.
And it's a full Roman Catholic funeral mass. And they tend to last about an hour and a half.
Well, indeed. And in fact, I am a member of a Catholic, Anglo-Catholic congregation, and we are more Catholic than the Catholics when it comes to ritual and incense and so on. And in fact, I had a requiem mass for my own wife, and a Roman Catholic friend who was there said, "My God," he said, "I've never been to anything like this in our own church."
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, you see, our parish church is very, very high church. You would see very little difference.
Yeah.
As a Roman Catholic. at our services and funerals, but very few people go for a funeral mass or communion, whatever you want to call it, in the parish church. I've never known one to happen. When I had a funeral there only 10 days ago, it was, well, it wasn't brief, but it was succinct and didn't go on too long. I mean, obviously, for me to be dreading something where someone has lost her life, leaving her husband behind her, and 2 children who are broken-hearted, it's hardly for me to moan about taking out a couple of hours of my life. So, but I do dread these things. I've never...
Yes.
Funerals aren't meant to be enjoyed, I know, but you can have a good funeral, you can have a bad funeral.
Yes. Well, my wife, who was Canadian, by the way, and not
Yes.
brought up in the Anglo-Catholic Church, but she was a mainstay of St. Michael's in Lewis, which is a very ancient church, of course. It goes back to about 1100.
Yes.
And she actually helped, if we can put it that way, 3 different priests. And I asked if all 3 priests would officiate at this mass. And I said to the servers, I would hope that perhaps a couple of them would be there. Little knowing that behind the scenes, because she was held in such high regard, they were all going to be there. And it was, the church was packed. She'd asked for flowers to be spread around the church. And it was the most remarkable occasion. And I hadn't set out for it to be remarkable, but it just turned out that way. And I have to say that it's something that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Yes, well, it's obvious it's very much made its mark on you. And why not? It's a great privilege and a great tribute to your wife that's what happened. I mean, the funeral, the Requiem Mass that caught me completely by surprise was a very good friend of ours who is from a Catholic family, but actually attends the parish church. Her mum died, and the service was going to be where her mum was married in Bognor Regis. I was told, and I was asked to do a reading, and of course I said yes, I'll do a reading with pleasure, because I knew her relatively well, and her daughter Lorinda is a very close friend of this family and is the godmother of Oliver, who you've met. So I went along. It transpired surprisingly to be the Roman Catholic Church, where, as I say, the mother had been married all those years before. And it was a full-blown Requiem Mass that I had just simply hadn't expected. And so, like an hour and 40 minutes later, the service was over. And I must confess, I was completely worn out by then. And said my goodbyes. So there we go. Anyway, my wife will be going with me, and our older son, Charlie, has come down because he was very close to Paula. She was his teacher for many years, and he's big mates with her son, Christian. So Charlie, bless him, has come down. Quite extraordinary. She was a teacher all her life, predominantly biology, and And in her last school, which was Our Lady of Zion in Worthing, Catholic school, and a very good school, she rose to deputy head before she retired. Well, I learned from her son yesterday, because he called round to ask about Charlie coming down. And the night before she died at home, she had been in a hospice, but they'd moved her back home, I suspect, at her request. So she was attended by a paramedic and a nurse most evenings. And the paramedic and the hospice nurse that attended the night before she died, she had taught both of them biology.
Oh, heavens.
Can you imagine that? Different generations.
Yeah.
But she taught both of them, and they remembered her.
Yeah.
How extraordinary is that?
Yes, absolutely. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
How extraordinary. So, you know, the family have been very, very private in how they're coping with this. They've never been sort of extroverts anyway, but I had to ring the cathedral yesterday directly to find out not so much the time, but the nature of the service and advice about how busy it's going to be, and it is going to be busy, and when to get there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very, very hard day for them. Very hard day. But she's got 3 sisters and a brother, all of whom have survived her. The sister Cora lives in Merseyside, which is where the whole family originated anyway. Widnes ultimately, but Merseyside. So she's coming down. She's 91 and a force of nature, believe me. Very staunch Evertonian, as was her husband Alan before he passed away. Proper force of nature is Cora. Her sister Mary, with whom I see a lot of, and with whom I get on very, very well. Has been down quite a lot. I've had nice chats with her. There's another sister that I've never met called Judith. And what I didn't know until yesterday was that there was a brother. And he's travelling over this morning from Exeter by train. So don't mean to blaspheme, but God help him, given what Mark Maybe's been experiencing. So there we are.
Yes.
But what news about Maybe? Have you heard from him?
Not since last Friday, when he sent an email saying that he'd woken up and was feeling very rough and was going back to bed, and could he be excused? I haven't spoken to him since, but of course I will during the week. But just before we leave funerals, funerals can be remarkable occasions. And in my own case, if you like, it's sort of a legacy. It was on the morning of my wife's funeral that I discovered that I'd got Parkinson's.
Good heavens.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
Well, that's a nice word for a bad discovery. So there you were, bereaved anyway, and then you're told that.
Yes,
that's cruel. Actually, that's cruel.
Well,
reminds me oddly of Wilfred Owen's mother, you know, the war poet, and he was killed in the last few weeks of the war. Her only child, her husband, had been killed as well. And as the bells were ringing out in her village to announce the armistice, the telegram boy turned up, removed his cap out of respect, and handed her the telegram telling her that Wilfred had been shot.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's unimaginable, actually, what they went through. But tomorrow it was John Prideaux who couldn't do.
That's right. Yes.
So he's going to be doing it a week tomorrow.
Yes. I think actually this week is a bit of a disaster. Oh, here's the Chief of Staff. Good morning, Chief.
Hello.
How are you?
All right. Got stock take on today.
Oh, right. Okay. Have we got deliverers?
Maybe some Christmas snacks.
Ah.
Cool, yeah.
Right. I have to keep my eye open on the window, you see.
Yeah. I love it. And have we got deliveries? That's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a key part of the beer side of things.
No, that is clearly the
case. If I don't open the door, there's no beer.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
I'll tell you, Philip, we have more fun in this pub than you would ever believe.
No, I'm in no doubt. I'd love to be there.
Yeah, the whole crew is just they're really a good team, and we sort of. But the other day, the Red Devil broke down, and Deck took a couple of the chaps from behind the bar to retrieve it, and they videoed bringing it back, and it's absolutely hilarious watching him limp the Red Devil back to the pub.
Well, that's an act of true kindness.
Yeah, well, she was abandoned down by Cafe Nero.
Oh, yeah, that's where he hangs out. Yeah. What was wrong with it? Was it out of charge or?
Well, it's due. Yes, the motor is not charging properly, but they're coming out to do a service sometime this week.
Right, so it's going to be serviced before you come to LA.
Yes.
Good. Because the thought of you breaking down coming all that way is pretty unpleasant for both of us.
Yes. No, we'll be all right.
All right, I'm going to find your email address and I'll email you the video footage.
Right, okay.
Right, do you want a coffee in a minute?
Lovely.
All right.
There we go.
Bye, Deck. You jammy bugger. I was going to say you've fallen on your feet, but unfortunately that's not the case.
No, when I fall anywhere but on my feet.
Precisely.
But actually, of course, we were going to meet here in June with our sort of little executive committee, and we had to abandon that because of the trains. I remember. I had an email from Paul Cheeseman just yesterday, actually, saying that he's going to try and reschedule that. So perhaps you'll be here sooner than we think.
Yeah, no. If I mean, the ideal time for me would be after Jackie's retired, which is early July.
Right. Not very far away now.
Which isn't far away, no. And that week, the Tuesday following her retirement, the 9th, I finally got an appointment to be seen about my knee.
Ah.
So I've got that consultation on that Tuesday. But I mean, because once I don't have to do this damn school run, I can be with you any day.
Yes, that's great.
And midweeks are better.
Yeah.
Midweeks are better because Mondays and Fridays are not the best days to travel by train.
Well, I wonder whether there's any good time now. I mean, the trains are in a mess because of. Will it get worse if Labour form a government, or will it get better? Everyone doesn't know.
Well, if they attempt to do what they are saying they're going to do, which is to disenfranchise, or no, they have said they are not going to renew any of the train franchises. In other words, it's slow renationalisation. Well, given the transition between commercial private enterprise and renationalisation, I can't imagine it's going to do much good for morale.
No.
Or for funding the investment required in new trains and infrastructure, track repairs, station maintenance, signals. So my opinion, as you've asked it, is that it will be a very, very negative phase. And I'm glad that I hardly ever have to use the trains.
Yes, well, I haven't been on a train in a year, I suppose.
No.
And of course, I was on the train every day for much of.
Well, look, I mean, vis-a-vis a week Friday, you're having the Red Devil service. Perhaps you could run it by them whether they feel it's up to that journey and back. And remember that if you just don't feel like it on the day, I can just cancel the table.
I will get there if I have to come on all fours. I'm so looking forward to it. Also, even if the Red Devil isn't serviceable, which it should be, I'm going to get my walking stick and I will take a taxi to the station and get on board, and I will get to Littlehampton one way or the other. The promenade down the seafront may be sort of not quite the grand affair that you've got.
No, it'll be that will be beyond you, Keith, with a walking stick.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I've seen my friend with Parkies use a walking stick, and he fell over, and his head missed the wall by about that much.
Yes.
I was horrified.
Well, that's the only bit that will have to be curtailed, because even if you didn't turn up, I'm determined I'm going to go for lunch.
Well, they know you're coming, but yes, well, it's of some concern to me that on the news I hear that Putin is cozying up to Korean Kim. He's gone to Pyongyang today.
Yeah.
Well, the Kremlin have described it as a friendly visit, and then they say, well, it's to do with trade and security. Of course, what it's really about, and the British intelligence service have purported to confirm this, is that Korean Kim is giving him all these weapons to help him, stuff Ukraine.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this vision, I think, that North Korea is so backward that all its weaponry is like Soviet era and stuff, but it's not. It's not. They have access to very modern weapons, because at the end of the day, despite all these sanctions, I have read that it still gets through. Yeah. And a lot of the modern weapons use microchips that you would find in a mobile phone. So they get those in their millions.
Yes.
And they're on the way to being a nuclear power.
Well, of course, it is, whether it's a nuclear power or not, is the thing with Kim is that he's unpredictable. is like a child, and subject to little fits of temper.
Yes, well,
that's the frightening thing.
we've agreed before, or rather, Harry has ever educated us to the fact that that's why we need a Trump, because Trump's as much a firework as he is.
Yes.
And it's two complete lunatics facing off each other.
Yes.
It's a rather odd situation, but there we are. And a very low take up from young people. Today is the closing date for registration to vote in the election. And according to the BBC, like 95% of people of our age are registered, but the 18 to 25, 26-year-olds, there are millions who just haven't registered.
Well, it is perhaps what's going to happen, Philip, is that they won't, and then they will see that they had a chance to vote, and that the whoever is in power in Westminster affects their lives considerably, so that when they are 24 or 25, the next election is that they will turn out in their thousands, millions.
Yes, that's possible. You have to feel and experience what a government does or doesn't do for you to take any interest.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to have to start thinking about getting ready for this funeral, Keith.
Okay, well, it's good of you to join me.
Maybe, but so are we aiming for Friday as usual?
Yes, we are. Yes,
Right.
we'll have the jamboree on Friday, assuming that the people are well enough to come back on board again. I actually have been. I will be consulting you probably in the next few days because I'm trying hard to come up with a format where we are not going to. I mean, it's not going to happen that often that everybody's ill all at once. But when they are, of course, it leaves an almost impossible situation for me. So I'm working on a system where we probably can have a bit more backup than we've got at the moment.
Well, yeah, we need to discuss this off air.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if you haven't got the contributors, you haven't got the contributors.
No, but then again, we have literally in the last year we've come from really nowhere to becoming a fairly sophisticated operation. And it's amazing. Incidentally, I checked in on LinkedIn last night or the night before, I can't remember which, and the number of hits that we got for one small item was in the hundreds, which is quite remarkable. So we are growing, and I don't want us to lose that impetus. But by the same token, we haven't had much time to recruit. I haven't been riding the bus, you see.
Well, I know, and the bus company have been ringing me to say, where the hell is he? But what was I going to say? Something very meaningful. Hang on. Oh, it's gone now. Yeah, of course we don't want to lose impetus, but you are dependent on who's available, because otherwise it just falls on you.
Yes.
And to do a whole, what would it be, minimum 3-hour stint on your own, well, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, well, it can be a bit exhausting.
Well, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
There was one morning you needed me to do it, and once I'd done the news review, I'm afraid I was because I'm not a very good conversationalist. In fact, on my own, I was lost.
Well, I think that you do a marvelous job. When I sometimes have to go and let the drayman in, and I say, "Will you please carry on your own?" And
Well,
there
we
you go.
agreed how important that piece of conduct is. And I don't mean me, I mean you letting the drayman in. Well, look, I'll call in on you tomorrow. We'll see what's happening tomorrow.
Yes.
So, but sadly, no Prideaux.
No, that is sad, but it's normally we can ride these things. The fact that everybody is suffering, but then again, one of the things that we boast is that we haven't got anybody on our team under 50, and it's most unusual for a television station. We've got 4 people who are over 80. And 2
Yes.
of those are just 2 years shy of being 90.
Yes, well,
you wouldn't actually guess that from their ability to broadcast, but it is a fact.
Absolutely. I mean, Atterson's mind is scary.
Yes. Actually, so is Henty.
Of course, John.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it goes with the territory, it goes with the survival, it goes with the longevity. It's all part of the same package, in my opinion.
Well, yes, that's true. That's true.
All right. Well, I'll say good night from you and good night from me, and
All right.
I'll call in on you tomorrow. I'll keep an eye on things. Tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll look forward to that. And
bye-bye.
Do enjoy the Requiem Mass.
Oh, thank you very much.
There we are, Philip Meredith, and I was slow starting this morning. It's 8:56. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take our break for 5 minutes, and then I'll come back, and then I will do the news. So that will take us to give us another half hour or so. Whether in fact I'm going to have to start all over again is because this thing is up the stream, up the spouts this morning. I have no idea. But anyway, we will say cheerio, toodle pip, back in 5 to 10 minutes. So bye-bye.